AA Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Starting at pole position is Lightning McQueen, who's looking for his third Piston Cup, and Darren Leadfoot will start on his outside. Row 2 has Cal Weathers and Mark Carton, both hoping to finish in the top 3 in points this season. Row 3 has Tony Gasworth, the car that's currently second in points, and Kevin Carvick, who's outside. Row 4 has The Rocket, Ryan Newcar, and Greg Beeple to his outside. Row 5 has Brick Yardley and Clint Bokar to his outside. I don't know why though, but in row 6 we have Jamie McCarry and Kurt Bushtire, who will finish in the top 10 no matter what this season. Row 7 has Bobby Swift, who's hoping to win the race, and Martin Carx Jr. to his outside. Row 8 has Rex Reveler and Brick Hicks, who surprised everyone this season. Row 9 has Murray Clutchburn and Kevin Shiftwright in his final Piston Cup race. Row 10 has Bobby Cabani, who's qualified for his first race at the Motor Speedway of the South since 2004, and to his outside, Jeff Corvette, who's won the Piston Cup twice before. Row 11 has Elliot Draftler and David Rudikar, two cars who have had seasons we didn't expect. Row 12 has Juan Pablo Montoya and Carl Edwards, who went airborne in the 14th race of this season. Row 13 has Casey Corner and Jeff Burnton, who is having a bad season this season. Row 14 has Brad Karslowski, who won the 14th race of this season, and Ernie Gearson to his outside. Row 15 has Todd Marcus and Kyle Bushtire! I hope he doesn't wreck anyone. Row 16 is TG Castlenut and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's having a terrible season this season. Row 17 has Brian Vickers and Matt Karseth, who's also having a bad season. Row 18 is Joey Lagirno! Why did he follow Kyle Bushtire's examples? And Jimmy Cables to his outside. Row 19 has Eugene Kobareski making his final start, and Denny Carlin to his outside. Row 20 has Michael Cottrip, who has not won since 2003, and Jack DePost, who's never won at all. Row 21 has David Raycar, somehow, and Chip Gearings, somehow back here. And starting in 43rd is Mike Yankee Jr., who's had terrible qualifying this season. And these 10 cars, among many others, failed to qualify for this race. Now onto the race, where Lightning McQueen would lead for the first 32 laps before he'd lose the lead to Tony Gasworth. Tony Gasworth would lead until lap 52, where he'd lose the lead to Kurt Bushtire, who'd lead for 3 laps, then somehow lose the lead to Kevin Carvick. Kevin Carvick would lead until lap 63, where Tony Gasworth would retake the lead, leading until lap 85, where Kevin Carvick would once again take the lead, leading until lap 134. Unfortunately, Kyle Bushtire would be 15th as of lap 116, where he wrecks Todd Marcus, TG Castlenut, Elliot Draftler, and Murray Clutchburn. Why? Kurt Bushtire would take the lead on lap 134, leading until lap 157, where Denny Carlin would take the lead from him, leading until lap 180, where Darren Leadfoot would take the lead from him. Darren Leadfoot would lead for 18 laps before Jeff Burnton would somehow take the lead from him, leading until lap 217, where Brick Yardley would take the lead from him, leading for just 3 laps before Darren Leadfoot would retake the lead for himself, leading until lap 222, where Denny Carlin would once again retake the lead, leading until lap 251, where Darren Leadfoot is back in the lead for 6 laps, because Lightning McQueen would retake the lead, leading until lap 268, where Denny Carlin would once again retake the lead, leading until lap 275, where Cal Weathers would take the lead for the first time this race, leading for 9 laps, but unfortunately, Rex Reveler would be out on lap 284 because of an engine failure. After the restart, Darren Leadfoot would take the lead, leading until lap 302, where Bobby Swift would take the lead from him. He would only lead for 2 laps because Tony Gasworth would retake the lead, leading until lap 309, where Lightning McQueen would take the lead for himself, and he'd lead for the remainder of the race to win the 2009 Dinoco Light 350, where Kevin Shiftwright would finish 2nd in his final race, Denny Carlin would finish 3rd, Darren Leadfoot 4th, Mark Carton 5th, Jeff Burnton 6th, Kevin Carvick 7th, Jeff Corvette 8th, Carl Edwards 9th, and Kyle Busch would unfortunately round out the top 10 of the 2009 Dinoco Light 350, and this means that Lightning McQueen wins the 2009 Piston Cup, winning his third Piston Cup. Now, let's see the top 40 of the 2009 Piston Cup season. This is Lightning McQueen's third Piston Cup in only 5 seasons. Mark Carton will get his 4th second place finish in his career. Jeff Corvette finished 3rd this season. Cal Weathers, the defending champion, who's no longer the champion because Lightning McQueen is the champion, he finished 4th. Somehow, Tony Gasworth would plummet to 5th in points. Kevin Shiftwright missed out on the top 5 in his final season. Bobby Swift would finish 7th this season, ahead of Denny Carlin in 8th, despite the fact he continued to complain that he wouldn't be able to win the championship. Kurt Busch finished 9th, and Greg People would round out the top 10 in points. Brick Yardley would finish 11th, ahead of Carl Edwards in 12th. Juan Papa Montoya somehow finishes 13th, ahead of Casey Corner and Ryan Newcar, who kept going airborne this season. At least he beat Kyle Busch in 16th. Matt Karseth had a bad season, finishing 17th, the same as his number. Clint Bokar somehow finished 18th again, 15 points ahead of Mike Yankee Jr. And Brick Hicks would round out the top 20, surprising literally everyone, beating out Jeff Burnton by 100 points. Kevin Karvik had an even worse season, finishing 22nd, only a few points ahead of Joey Logierno, who needs to not follow Kyle Busch examples next season. Martin Carx Jr. will have a different crew chief next season as he's changing teams. And David Rudikar somehow finished 25th ahead of Moray Clutchburn, Jimmy Cables, and Chip Gearings. Rex Revler surprisingly finishes 29th, ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's had a terrible season this season. Also, Ernie Gearson had an underwhelming season, but at least he beat Jamie McCarry, who finished 32nd. And Brian Vickers finished 33rd, despite having a lot of good finishes. Eugene Karbareski will finish 34th in his final season, beating David Raykar by 6 points. T.G. Castlenet finishes 36th this season, and Jack DePost finishes 37th.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
I forgot to talk about the last 3. Todd Marcus successfully qualified for all 36 races this season, and he finishes 38th in points, ahead of Elliot Draftler, who somehow DNQ'd a few races. And in 40th is Michael Cartrip, who also qualified for every single race this season, despite the fact he finished, 40th. Behind 7 cars that missed at least one race this season. The next season, the 2010 Florida 500 video will be coming out next month, because there's a lot of changes that happen between the 2009 and 2010 Piston Cup seasons. Unfortunately, the war in Ukraine is still going on. It's now been over a month since the war begun, and Vladimir Putin must be held accountable for the crimes that he's committed. The people of Ukraine are still suffering under this invasion, and we must stand with Ukraine against the tyranny of Vladimir Putin. And we need to pray for Ukraine to have peace once again very soon. Hopefully sooner than when the next video comes out. Slava Ukraini! Heroyam Slava!